So this will be my first ever YouTube video. Some of you may know me from TikTok, but my name is Malik. I go by MTW and go by Leaks, MT Dubs, anything you guys are comfortable calling me. But yeah, this is my introduction to YouTube. I've loved basketball for a while. Been a Los Angeles Lakers fan. That's my team. You guys can see the shirt. I'm gonna get into why I'm wearing this in a minute, but yeah, on here we're gonna talk about some NBA predictions, current events in the NBA, off-season things, just the whole NBA nine. You can come here for your NBA content. I'll be uploading pretty frequently nowadays, especially since the season is getting closer. But yeah, like I said, if you see me on TikTok, I'll drop all of those links to my TikTok, my Instagram, so you guys can keep up with me because I post on there. Also, YouTube Shorts on here. But yeah, so for today's video, we are going to be talking about my favorite basketball player of all time, my GOAT, Kobe Bryant. A lot of the times, discourse around Kobe, I think, is very nasty. Some very specific points comes to his top 10 ranking, or his rankings, sorry. By Bleacher Report, they ranked him as an 11th best player of all time, which is, in my opinion, it's just absolute blasphemy. We're just Stephen A. Smith, but like, when it comes to talking about Kobe Bryant, like you guys, they put guys like Stephen Curry over him, who else? Bill Russell. They also had Wilt Chamberlain over him. They had Larry Bird, Magic Johnson over him, Tim Duncan, and a lot of those names. To me, there isn't. I've grown to accept that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has had a hell of a career, so it's kind of hard to put Kobe over him, and I get that. But to me, there's no better basketball players than Kobe Bryant other than LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. For me, Kobe goes right at that fourth spot. Depending on the day, I might even say he's better than Kareem. But I just think a lot of the discourse around Kobe is just so very, very lazy. Like, people are still trying to say she got carried by Shaq. A lot of the times people are saying he's not as good of a defender as people make him out to be, which doesn't really make much sense to me because Kobe Bryant, like, they say that the all-league NBA selections were kind of like in media influence, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me because a lot of people didn't like Kobe Bryant. Boston Celtics fans did not like Kobe Bryant. Most fans of Western Conference teams didn't like him. Spurs fans, you know what I mean? Like, Kobe didn't always have a great public perception to the media. So like, as much as people used to love him, like, not a lot of people like around the world did. Like, they liked who he was as a basketball player, but most of the times Kobe was beating your favorite player's team. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's a real love and hate relationship. But with that being said, especially throughout those times, the 2010s and earlier then, like, you couldn't really find many point of attack guard basketball defenders that were better than Kobe Bryant. Kobe's not the versatile defender where of a guy like, let's say, Kawhi, Scottie Pippen, where they have the ability to impact the interior and the perimeter. But Kobe was no slouch there too. Kobe was able to guard some big players in some situations, maybe like for a possession or two, not consistently, but he's very good at what he's supposed to do. For a guard, you're mainly only supposed to be able to guard other guards, point guards, and wings. So he did that at a very high level. So I think the fact that people try to say that he is a bad defender just because of some statements that they heard from Jeff Teague and Phil Jackson, which Phil Jackson, I kind of feel like is weird for him to say he's not a good defender when he's the one that is headlining the game plan that has Kobe Bryant guarding the best player on the other team, especially for most of those championship runs with Shaq and the post-championship runs after Shaq. So I don't really understand it in that aspect, but yeah. To the discourse around Kobe not being top 10 now, for me, it doesn't really make much sense. Because when you look at guys like Tim Duncan, for example, who I think if I were to do a top 10 list, I would have Kobe and then I would go Tim Duncan right after, just based on the fact that they have very similar resumes. Like, when you look at them for their career accolades, career stats, like, they both excel in a lot of things. You know, respectively, Kobe is better at perimeter defense than Tim Duncan is, and so on and so forth. Tim Duncan averages more rebounds, Kobe more assists, because it makes sense for their position, right? But the thing is, when it comes to those two, it comes down to the fact when the careers are so close, at least for my own ranking criteria, you have to take into account like how they match up against each other and stuff like that when it is that close, because resume wise it's really a toss up. You can make the case for either or, but I would make the case for Kobe being better just due to the fact that they relatively play good against each other. Like, there's no one player that outshines the other in their head-to-head matchups. Some series you can say when you go back and look, like Tim Duncan played better than Kobe in the earlier years with Shaq, but when Kobe had Shaq, but at the same time, there are some times where Kobe was right there, if not better. You can make the argument. It's not really as cutthroat. But then when you bring in guys like Magic Johnson, Stephen Curry, Larry Bird, where it's just like a lot of those guys, they didn't have the longevity that Kobe Bryant had. When you look at the 2012-2013 season, for example, I think Kobe was about 37 years old, leading the NBA in minutes, averaged a career high in assists that year, tied his career high in assists that year. He averaged about 6 a game. And don't get me started on the efficiency, because when we talk about efficiency when it comes to Kobe, he's not as inefficient as ever. He's not inefficient at all, actually. We're going to go over that in a second. But back to my point, talking about guys like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, I'm not crazy familiar with a lot of their careers. I kind of just leave them where they're at and respect them. But for me to say that they're better than Kobe when those guys have had way better teammates, and you guys like to teammate tax Kobe for playing with Shaq for 3 years, try to say that he got carried, when there's several instances where you can look up stats. Kobe played substantially better than Shaq most of the time in the Western Conference. When they got out of the Western Conference and went to the finals, and when you look at when they played New Jersey or when they played Philly, even Indiana actually, none of those guys have a check for Shaq, or opposed to when they're playing in the Western Conference and you have the Tim Duncans of the world, you have the Kevin Garnetts of the world that you guys got to go through to get out of there. That rugged dogfight. Also, that Sacramento Kings series that is very, very controversial. You know what I mean? Like, Kobe was killing in a lot of those games, especially against the Spurs. Kobe's closing these games. There are instances where Shaq has gotten in foul trouble in the finals against Indiana, I believe. That's what it was. Shaq got in foul trouble. Kobe hit this, where he's telling them, relax, I got this. No Shaq, no problem. It's like a lot of times in basketball discourse, people just brush over things to push their own agenda. And it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, honestly. So that's how I feel about that. When it comes to the efficiency part now, I'm going to have a bunch of different stuff on the screen here because I looked at it. I've never really actually been an advanced stats guy, but a lot of the times people like to compare if Kobe Bryant's efficiency, his true shooting, to nowadays in the NBA compared to back then, when I think it's pretty easily done that you can just look at what he was doing with his peers that played back in the day. If you look at his true shooting percentage to guys that played in around the same time as him, so your Allen Iversons, Dwayne Wade, Kevin Durant's, Bron, all of those guys that played relative in that era, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, those type of guys. Kobe's efficiency is, if not better, is right there. It's above the league average, hit his true shooting. So it's just like people just look at field goal percentage and say, oh, Kobe shot like 45%, but that's not even inefficient. Like that's pretty solid. Kobe Bryant is a volume scorer. So for him to be shooting 45% for a volume scorer, guys that usually kind of force the issue and keep shooting through slumps, that's pretty impressive. Kobe, when you look at guys like Kobe Bryant compared to like a guy like LeBron James, LeBron's shot diet is consistently, and especially now, he adds more threes in there, but Bron's still able to get to the rim at a high level and score because he's 6'8", 250 pounds. Like, you can't stop that guy from going to the basket a lot of times. Kobe is a crazy athlete, but even as his career went down and his athleticism started to go away, he was still finding ways to score with the most inefficient shot in basketball at a high level. He's also still a great three-point shooter, and he's a very good free throw shooter as well. So again, I don't really understand, but like I said, I will have some pictures and stuff up after I edit this video showing the analytics behind Kobe not being inefficient. But yeah, it's just very lazy to call Kobe inefficient to me. One of the main things, I think people really underrate the fact that he was able to go to 3 straight finals from 2008 to 2010. Like, I'm not even going to say that the Laker team was bad, because they weren't bad in any means of the sort. A lot of people don't understand. When you look at a team like the San Antonio Spurs, they have guys that buy in and play to their role 100%. I don't know if any of you guys have heard the term be a star in your role. If you want examples, think a guy like Tristan Thompson in 2016 with the Cavaliers. That is the epitome of being a star in your role. When you have guys like Andrew Bynum, Jordan Farmar, Shannon Brown, Pau Gasol. I won't say Pau Gasol because he was a number 2 option. Lamar Odom, Derek Fisher. All of these guys are there for specific reasons. Sasha Vujacic. everybody on that team played a very specific role, and they got exactly what they needed out of them. That team was built like that for a reason. So just because the numbers don't jump out the sky on some of those guys, a lot of people like to say Kobe carried them. It's not like that. Those guys are like, that team was kind of run similar to the San Antonio Spurs, where it was like everything was done intentionally with a purpose. That team was perfect for the era they played in and the system that they ran. That's why they found so much success. Another reason why they were so good is because they used to fluctuate a lot of times with big lineups. They had Odom, Gasol, and Andrew Bynum on the court, so they were a great rebounding team, which also led to them being a good defensive team as well. So being able to score isn't the only thing that makes teams good. They actually were okay 3-point shooting wise, but they also had Kobe Bryant like at his peak, or peaking, or towards the end of his peak, I should say. But like I said, at the end of the day, basketball is subjective. You guys can have people wherever you have them. I'm not here to say that my opinion is law. I'm just here to provide evidence and some reasons as to why I feel the way I feel. This was a very fun video for me to make. Kobe's my favorite basketball player of all time. Like I said, you're going to get to see a lot more videos of me like this. I like to debunk a lot of common media like misconceptions, because people are very lazy when it comes to talking about basketball. And I really like basketball. So with that being said, if you like content like this, like I said, I post shorts, I post on TikTok as well. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we're out, man.